Hi, I'm Coven, dad of two kids and founder of Kid Coach app. Here are 5 future work trends I really want to share with you. The first is that the world is changing extremely fast and for the better. Consider, just 20 years ago, we didn't have smartphones, Facebook had not been invented, Google had only just been founded. Who knows what will happen in the next 20 years? 20 years after that, and after that? What does that mean for the kids? It's really hard to know. One thing that is really clear, though, is that they need more transferable 21st century skills. That's what children will need to differentiate themselves against all of that AI that's coming in. But let me add this. I'm a real optimist about all of this. I believe that the arriving AI will mean more free time, more meaningful work for the next generation. And actually, the future is a very, very exciting place for our kids, as long as they're ready for it. Because the second trend is that the skills our kids need are changing incredibly fast also. And by the way, are very different to what you and I probably learned back at school. We need to do what machines can't. As the OECD Director of Education said, we need to develop first-class humans, not second-class robots. And what he meant by that was simply that if all we did was train our children in academic areas like math and English, then they're destined to be these second-class robots, aren't they? Why? Well, because computers will always be able to crunch numbers and process texts far better than humans ever can. We can't out-robot a robot, so let's not even try. However, it's with the quintessentially human skills, creativity, empathy, leadership, critical thinking, communication skills, all of these are where the robots will have a much harder time in keeping up with us. So let's get first class at these human skills. The third trend is that schools are struggling to keep up with this, to be perfectly frank. Everything I've said so far, it's no big secret. It's all very well documented. Schools and education systems know all of this already, and many of them want to change, to add, say, more project-based learning or social emotional learning or entrepreneurial opportunities, that sort of stuff. They want to add it into the curriculum, but the regulation is just too binding. The immediate pressures of attainment and results are just too great. It takes a very brave principle to go against the grain of all of this and offer something that's genuinely enriching. Thankfully, there are a few examples of this and slowly increasing. And there are lots of smart, much smarter than me, people working on this incredibly important problem. But until the school systems catch up sufficiently to offer every single student, all of our kids, a modern education that really does prepare them for their changing future, how are we going to plug the gap? And that's my fourth trend. It falls to us parents. Parents are so important. And parents are becoming more important. We parents are often the most overlooked player in a child's education. Did you know that your child, spends on average less than 20% of their waking hours at school across the year? It's true. Work it out if you don't believe me. When you account for the long holidays, every weekend, all those evenings, you'll see that actually over 80% of your child's time is spent at home, usually with you, with mum or dad or their guardian. So how are we empowering these parental figures to supplement or enrich a child's education? Being parents, not teachers, we can't necessarily expect them to teach calculus or medieval history or fractional distillation, but being adults with life experience who can have a good conversation and actually have a tiny class size, so to speak, can give extremely personalized attention to their children. Now, thankfully, and this is my fifth trend, some parents are starting to step in. So we're seeing this trend, aren't we, towards homeschooling? Many had to, of course, during the pandemic, and some have even continued to do afterwards. And at Kid Coach app, this is exactly what we do and what we see. We use the power of conversation to build a broad base of skills in children. It's a bit like doing 5 minutes of push-ups a day, just for the mind. We essentially tee up hundreds of quick, fun, and thought-provoking questions for kids. Each of them only meant to take 5 minutes, but are specifically designed to build creativity, critical thinking, communication, and so on. Thousands of parents have given it a go, trying out questions like, what would you name a new color if you invent? Great for creativity. Or how do you reduce litter on the streets, which is a problem to solve? Or how do you describe a computer to Julius Caesar, somebody who's never heard of one, which is a nice communication challenge. Loads of prompts and guidance help parents along the way, and parents have literally had and logged thousands of conversations like this that have started building the skills their kids need into the Kid Coach app. But look, however you do this, or however a parent does it, or whatever resources a parent uses, I'm so glad to be able to comment on this fifth trend that we see, which is that parents are starting to step in and to lean in to their child's education, focusing on skills, not knowledge, and making a genuine difference to their child's future happiness and success. Thanks. I'm Kevin, dad of two kids, founder of Kid Coach app, and I hope you enjoyed those 5 key trends. And I hope if you have kids that you could implement some of that at home yourself. All the best.